Today on International Women's Day, at the request of women in Gaza, we organized this rally, this protest in support of the Palestinian struggle for liberation, in support of the people of Gaza against the brutal genocide, not just backed, but carried out by this country, by the United States of America, and by genocide Joe Biden. When we say Israel bombs, USA pays, how many kids did you kill today? This is not just rhetoric. This is not just a slogan. Since October 7th, the United States of America, using your tax dollars, has sent over 15,000 bombs, 57,000 artillery shells, and 21,000 precision-guided munitions. Do you know how much I was assaulted? I was assaulted by a Zionist on International Women's Day. And now the NYPD is threatening to assault me again. People play music in Union Square all the time. People are loud. We don't need a mic to be loud.
One warning, that's it. If you use it again, you're going to be arrested. That's it.
Officer, can I see your name? Thank you. Can I see your name? Thank you. Oh, please do. I appreciate your honesty. I'm sorry. It's all like saying that.
Never been for our protection.
They have never been for our protection.
And they are part and parcel of the racist. Take care of that.
Palestinians in Gaza
Are now also undergoing the systemic targeting of all forms of life. Palestinian lives. Hospitals and schools. Infrastructure. Come under Zionist barbaric attacks. As the entire world watches. Live broadcast of bombs. Weighing thousands of tons. Funded by taxpayers' money. Dropping on our people in Gaza. On the 8th of March. International Women's Day. We affirm that the Zionist killing machine. Discerns no difference. Between man and woman. Adult and child. It is predicated on erasure. And is threatened. By the mere existence. Of Palestinians. Especially those in Gaza. Whose bodies are signs of resistance. Against decades of settler colonial violence. We stand here today for the men and women of Gaza. For the children and youth of Gaza. For our grandmothers and grandfathers. Custodians of history and memory. And all those who have made Gaza. A popular cradle. For its valiant resistance. We stand for the bricks, the sea, the streets, the trees. We stand for the memories of the past and the hopes of the future. That make Gaza our home. Every day now. We see Palestinian women giving birth. In unsafe conditions. Mothers killed with unborn babies. In their wombs. Children who have lost their entire families. Men searching for their loved ones under the rubble. With their bare hands. And doctors forced to amputate. The limbs of their own children. On a table in a house. Surrounded by tanks and snipers. Lacking any medical equipment. Hundreds of thousands of our people. In the northern part of Gaza. Are besieged. Facing a systematic starvation policy. As a tool of the genocidal war. Waged by the Zionist entity. Aiming to break the resilience. Of an oppressed and proud people. And for our elders. soldiers have been flaunting clips of themselves, rummaging through, and parading the lingerie of forcibly displaced or murdered Palestinian women. An integral part of the colonial apparatus. Its structure, function, and practice. Sexual violence. Against Palestinian women. Completely overlooked. Testimonies of rape. Sexual assault. And brutal torture. Of Palestinian women. Kidnapped in Gaza. Enduring Israeli detention. Have not elicited recognition or solidarity from liberal feminist institutions. Palestinian women have experienced sexual harassment and threats of raping family members. They had dogs unleashed on them. They have been stripped naked. Deprived of food and access to restrooms. We demand immediate action. To fight all oppressive structures. That enable these brutal crimes. No genocide is feminist. Even as Israeli female soldiers take selfies on the rubble of our destroyed homes. Shame! We are now all in the same trench. Those who choose to manufacture consent for genocide. Whether directly making the bombs. Or passing the policies for the bombs to fall. Do not belong to our feminist anti-colonial struggle. Their feminism is only an extension of the ruling class. Today we also affirm our rejection of the dehumanization of Palestinian men and the perpetuation of racist and colonial tropes about the colonized. Feminist and anti-colonial struggles in Palestine are intertwined. We reject the hijacking of our movement. Serve Zionist propaganda. We refuse to reduce the massacred Palestinians to mere numbers. Recounted in a cursory manner. That detracts from our humanity. Even the staggering statistics we see on the news are inaccurate. In light of the testimony from people on the ground, as well as Palestinian journalists and medics, regarding thousands of missing individuals, those hastily buried,
illegally buried.
And those under the rubble undocumented.
The square sidewalks in schools.
The square sidewalks in schools.
And hospitals of Gaza.
And hospitals of Gaza.
Have become mass
graveyards.
If we were to narrate. The daily suffering of our people.
The daily suffering of our people.
In this genocide.
We
would need endless speeches.
speeches.
And an eternity of pain.
Compiling an archive of our people's losses.
Would not suffice.
The cries of Hind's mother.
Are but a drop in the ocean. Of Palestinian mothers' cries. And the last farewell of Reem's grandfather. To his soul of his soul. It's merely a glimpse of 1,000 farewells. Made in hospital corridors. Wrecked homes and silent prayers. It pains us. That those under extermination. Are compelled to point their cameras. Towards the bodies of their loved ones. In moments of farewell and sorrow. Moments that are meant to be sacred. Have been desecrated for you. Palestinians document them. To prove that this is all indeed happening. Those who have lost loved ones. Have been deprived of the right to mourn. To honor their bodies with proper burials. As the privacy of farewell has been violated. The least those in solidarity can do. Is not turn these images. Into commodities of performed sorrow. But mobilize our anger. And our grief into political action. We reject the romanticization. Of Palestinian suffering under genocide. As they are left with no choice. But to try to survive. The entire world has seen Palestinian women. Including doctors. Risking their lives. To save the wounded. Women gathering firewood. To cook for their families. Amid Israel's continued blockade of gas. Displaced women making bread. In makeshift tents. And our mothers in North Gaza. Making bread from animal feed. Amidst the scarcity. Of aid. And the partial stunts. Of aid drops. Which killed 5 people today, by the way. Even when the U.S. sends food. They are killing our people. You have seen mothers making diapers.